Welcome to Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, the big butch manly pop culture podcast who one day will be king of the thought pirates. I'm Shane Holland.
Yar. And I'm Andrew Wheeler.
Today we are talking about the Netflix adaptation of One Piece. This is the fantasy adventure television series, a live action adaptation of the 1997 Japanese manga series One Piece by Ichiro Oda. The series stars Iñaki Godoy, Emily Rudd, Makenyu, Jacob Romero Gibson, Taz Skylar, and Charithra Chandan. One Piece is the most successful anime and manga series of all time, and we are finally tackling this piece. It has been a solid hit for Netflix. There was a 3-year gap between the first and the second seasons, caused in part by the Hollywood writer and actor strikes, but the third season is expected. Thank God. The series follows the adventures of Monkey D. Luffy and his crew, the Straw Hat Pirates, as they pursue their individual goals together and seek the One Piece, a legendary treasure found and hidden by the former king of the pirates, Gold Roger. Woo! What a setup. What a show.
Setup. You did it. What a journey.
What a journey. Andrew, tell me what you already knew about One Piece and how you feel about this adaptation.
So I didn't know, I knew nothing firsthand about One Piece before watching the live action version, but my friend Derek told me, I think, everything piecemeal over the course of many years. Derek loves to tell me the stories of things, and I have, with no context or grounding for those things, I just say, oh, okay. But also, he and I went to Japan 15 years ago now, and there was a One Piece exhibit, a sort of Shonen Jump exhibit with a lot of One Piece stuff in there. So, like, at some point, I had a coin that I was given with a Zorro-inspired dessert that I got at the cafe, I think. I don't know. It was a different time.
It was mint ice cream, I'm going to guess.
Smart. And yeah, 15 years ago, this franchise was already big enough to support like a immersive exhibition experience with giant like plastic reconstructions of like the Going Merry and stuff like that. I knew nothing. And even so, because Derek told me so much, I did become a passionate fan of Zorro. He was my favorite in the early days. But then the show came along and I met Sanji, as played by Taz Skylar, and Zorro has faded into the background for me. I'm so sorry to my former king.
Look, we will get to the boys section of this podcast. We are going to have a whole hour devoted to Sanji, and it's not just the minoxidil. I love anime, but One Piece has always been a blind spot for me.
Yeah.
And I would say largely due to the fact that there are 1,155 episodes to catch up on. And it's growing. Like, they're not done, apparently. That was as of December 2025. I nearly had a heart attack when I found out that they were making more. And what's even worse is I think I'm going to watch it because, damn, I really loved this. This 2 weeks that I've spent in the world of One Piece might change my personality.
Oh no, you're gonna become a pirate
again. Yeah.
Something else?
A monster. Again.
A monster. A fruit eater.
Oh, look, I'm a Bleach girly, and that is already nearly 400 episodes of a TV series, but I am willing to add another nearly 1,200 onto the roster for something this fun and this colorful and like kind of this emotional and action-packed.
I am not a big anime or manga guy. Like, I am a comics guy. But I grew up on bande dessinée, on the European comics. I now work in American comics. I have a very limited like roster of anime and manga that I've enjoyed over the years. Like, I love Delicious in Dungeon. I love Oishinbo. Those are both about food. You can see where my particular interests lie. So yeah, like I'm not one of these people who's like I don't have a bias against it, but I think it is the daunting scale of the works, the sort of the big five works that are just I'm terrified of getting involved in those. They are making a new One Piece anime that is basically modeled on the live action version where it's condensed down. So
Oh
it'll be fewer
my God.
episodes, even as they continue to make the
New
expanded
arcs.
version. So there will be at least three, maybe more serial versions of One Piece on screen,
That is
plus whatever movies happen.
It is one of my favorite things that these legacy anime series have been doing, and it's so necessary because back in the
Right.
90s, you could do 1100 episodes of something because about half of it was the same recurring animation, like the special
Right.
moves, the Sailor Moon transformation takes up at least 4 minutes every episode. And now we're going back. Sailor Moon has done it. Dragon Ball Z has done it. One Piece is doing it, where they're doing these like condensed, like no filler seasons. And as
Yeah.
a nearly 40-year-old person, I need that. I need that if you want me to get into this world. So thank you. This show, back to the one we just watched. This show I
Yes.
found refreshing and I found it fun and colorful. It was well acted, surprisingly.
Yes.
I don't know what I was expecting, but like each character feels like a knockout, and all of the side characters are intensely interesting, and not just because of what they're wearing, but because of what they bring to each scene. And I think I'm falling in love with the character of Monkey D. Luffy, someone who I thought I was going to hate.
Yeah. I get it. I get it both ways. Yeah, he's a lot, he's intense, but he's so fucking charming. Sorry, he's so goddamn charming.
Oh my God. And so cute.
Such a good performance.
Such a good performance.
Yeah, it's kind
Yeah.
of like a kids show for grown-ups or for stunted adults. No, it's got
I
like this. There's some real like Power Rangers level sort of. I mean, much better than and more money has been spent on it than Power Rangers, but some of the characters look like Power Rangers villains with a budget. You know, there is a lot of
Mhm.
money going into this show, and it is on the screen. Absolutely. And it's regarded
$18
as not.
million dollars per episode.
And if you
Per
see the set
episode.
tours, like
Oh
the
my
set tours are
God.
insane. They built all of this stuff. It's crazy. But also it is regarded as number one, the most successful live action adaptation of an anime or manga in the Western world. Because
R.I.P.
there have
Cowboy
been
Bebop.
so many dogs.
Yeah.
Um and yeah, it is reputationally and also I think in terms of the performance metrics huge and successful. And it's also like considered like the gold standard now for casting. And Oda was
Mm.
involved like he has final say in everyone that gets cast on the show, and that seems to make a difference because people who were suspicious about the casting and were like ready to dismiss this show, everyone's turned around on it. Everyone is like, oh, these actors are perfect. So that's just so nice to see. It's nice to see everyone getting along.
It is. It is. And like what I haven't heard is like, well, they're not, I'm going to reduce this. They're not the same color as they are in the comic, which
Right.
we see leveled so often, like, oh, well, Ariel can't be black, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not the criticism I'm hearing about this show. In fact, I'm not really
No.
hearing criticism about this show. That's a wonderful thing. And I think it does speak to having that intentional hand in the casting. Like,
Yeah.
these people not only are made up to look like the character in the manga, in the anime, but they sound like the creator envisioned them to sound.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's a brilliant piece of production.
And there are things that this live action version has improved upon from the things that they have finessed, shall we say, to make it less problematic in certain ways. And
Mm.
so when you go back, if you do watch the original anime, I think some of that finessing will not have occurred there. And so Sanji will be much more of a lecherous character, and some of the racial characteristics will be harder to palate.
Mhm.
be warned that a lot of rough edges will come back into focus if you do watch the anime, as I understand it, as someone who has not watched the anime.
I have seen enough anime to know which tropes to keep an eye out for and which ones will absolutely be making an appearance.
Yeah.
I almost want to skip to the queerness, but if no, I'll hold on to it. I'll hold on to this. Hold on to this feeling. So let's talk about the women,
The women are a little outnumbered by the men, kind of,
which is
especially in
so
the
typical of a
core
shonen jump.
cast. Yeah, yeah. The core cast is mostly dudes, but the women still, there are a lot of them actually, and they get to be awesome. And we see
Mm,
some correction from last season, from first season to second season, in terms of like there's another woman on the crew, there's a setup for a future crew member, there's some
mhm.
great female villains throughout,
Oh,
and some
some of
great
them, yeah.
female supporting characters. And the great thing about this show is that women get to be cool and stylish and kick ass and are never doubted for their capacities and are not simply treated as fan service characters, which I think again is a finessing
Yes.
from the original source material. But yeah, I love these women, and I love that they don't have to be just objects of desire. That we can see someone like the I forget her name, the young Marine officer that Smoker is always hanging around with, who is like a
Mhm.
sword obsessive, and she's so cool, and she
She
gets to
is so
be
cool.
like great with a sword and all of that stuff. And it's not like, we've talked before about the people who complain about woke in things not understanding the material. Here, I think if you love One Piece, you have to know that the women are going to be good at fighting because everyone's good at fighting. So hopefully they're over it.
I would hope so because we get some amazing fight scenes with women. I want to start off with Nami, though,
Mhm.
who is seriously sidelined in season 2, but really kick butt in season 1. I'm hoping that she gets to return to form in season 3. I mean, she did get a couple of really cool fights, particularly on Little Garden Island,
Yes.
the island with the dinosaurs and the giants, but she had her staff broken there. And so she was kind of out of the fighting after that point, and also
And sick.
illness, I guess. Yeah. So she was still a huge part of the story, right? It's not like
Yes.
she was sick and then relegated to like, okay, we've got to go off on our own and save Nami. It's like, no, no, no. We're gonna literally carry Nami on our backs up a mountain and watch as she recovers, and like also
Yeah.
dive into like her psyche during all of this and how she feels as someone who's taken out of the action, as someone who's been in the action. That's a really
Yeah.
cool perspective to that we don't usually see.
Yeah, and I think, she gets to be the sort of steady center of the crew, surrounded by idiots. She's the
Mm,
she's the the level-headed one. So even when she's not kicking ass in the fight scenes, even when she's not the focus as much as she was in season one, it's still about her a lot of the time.
yeah.
And she still, she motivates the entire crew. It's a bit of a cliche of like the girl of the group being the heart of the group kind of thing. But I think Emily Rudd, the actor playing Nami, I think navigates that line very well,
You could also
and it
say
helps.
Usopp is the heart of the group, and I wouldn't be upset about that.
Right. He's the spleen of the group, I think.
Yeah, okay, yeah, actually true. Gotta get that speed check. I also love the newest addition to the crew. I guess she's a temporary addition
She's
to
a
the crew.
temp, yeah, which annoys me, but
The-
yes.
Yeah, amazing, amazing actor. Terithra, and just like such a fun addition to the team. I absolutely love her weapon, which are called the Peacock Slashers. And that is going to be the name of my punk band if I finally get down to making a punk band and learning how to play music.
All right. Well, no, not for pun.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
You're
yeah.
fine. Yeah,
She's also got blue
Charithra
hair, which is
Chandran.
something I've always wanted.
You can pull it off. Yeah, Charithra Chandran was in Bridgerton. That's the only other thing I know her from. I mean, so many of the crew, the cast of this show, are unknowns or undiscovered before this show. But she actually is someone that I was familiar with. and she just has such sort of a glow about her. She was a bit golly gee whiz to start off with, but she grew on me a lot as the series progressed, and it's sort of love that she stepped into her sort of queenliness, her diplomatic finesse. Like that's a useful talent to have on a pirate crew.
Yeah, I'd say.
And she still gets to be awesome with a weapon sometimes.
Yes, sometimes. But when she is, she is. She is, I've got to say, the second best VV from a Japanese fantasy. Obviously, number one goes to Final Fantasy IX's Black Mage character, VV, who's one of my favorite characters of all time.
I was
I just
just about to say.
look, I couldn't say the name and not bring it up. It has nothing to do with what we watched. I've been listening to a lot of Final Fantasy music lately, my entire life.
Oh, look, my number one VV is Value Village, so what can you do? You know, we all have our crosses to bear. I'd like to get a mention in once an episode. One day they'll give me a gold card.
One day.
Let's talk about Miss All Sunday, who is
Yes.
a very important character to the mythology. And yes, you're paying tribute to her. I'm paying tribute to a cancer patient, it feels like.
Can't unsee it.
I was going for
Oh my God, are
pirate,
you
but it
bald
just...
under there? Yeah, did you shave
You
your
know
head for
what?
this too?
I did.
Really, really going all out for the part. Yes, Devil Child, also
Lyra
known as
Abova.
Miss All Sunday, also known as Nico Robin.
Mhm.
Love her creepy ass flower fruit and trick. Just hands coming out of people's chests and out of their backs and like strangling them to death. I probably just destroyed the mic. Sorry. Really, like the first scene of this season is that power on full display. And what a way to start the season. You knew it was going to be a bloody, like gruesome mess for the entire season.
Yeah.
And that did hold up. And Lyra Abova, great. Absolutely fantastic. Doing that wonderful, mysterious,
Femme
deadly
fatale.
femme fatale thing so well.
Yeah, when we get to see her like right at the end of the season in like a leather like suit, I guess. I don't know,
Yeah.
it's very cinched and tailored, and it's like, oh, that feels like the outfit she was spiritually wearing the whole season. Not to dismiss her cowboy look.
Anime loves to introduce a villain who will eventually be an ally. And
Yeah,
this is one of those characters. Spoiler alert for a show that's been running for 30 years. God, that's
maybe.
so old.
Uh,
Great. Can't wait to see more of her.
Yeah, we also have some great supporting players in this season, also from Baroque works. I think Miss Golden Week needs a call out. Sophie Ann Caruso as the creepy little painter girl. Such a good monster, like such a great, like the Hannibal Lecter of this universe, kind of. You know, she was so creepy. And also, she meets her fate in such a horrific way, like truly awful.
Dark storyline.
Really dark, very well done.
That episode is one of my top two episodes of the season,
Oh,
particularly for how everyone gets a moment to do something
yes.
completely out of character and really show their range.
Yeah.
And I am going to shout out Inyaki Godoy as Monkey, who we've seen for at this point like 15 episodes being chipper and cheerful and hopeful,
Yeah.
like suddenly sink into this depression and hopelessness was guttingly real. Really,
Very
really
real.
well done.
Should we talk about Dr. Kureha?
We've got to talk about Dr. Reen Kureha, Katie Seagal, Leela, one of the most fabulous women to ever grace the screen, is absolutely fabulous and witchy as all hell in this, and I love her for it.
Having a great time. Do you know the story of who was almost cast in this role?
No, Holly Hunter.
That would be great. No, Jamie Lee Curtis wanted the role, is a huge One Piece fan, is a huge anime fan.
What?
Would have been amazing. Was not available to film because they film in South Africa. She couldn't get the time to travel. You know,
Jamie Lee.
Jamie Lee Curtis and Katie Seagal are friends, and she gave her blessing, basically, for Katie
Oh,
Seagal to take on the role instead. And I don't think I don't think we came off worst in that deal. Like
No,
Jamie Lee
no.
Curtis would have been great fun, but Katie Seagal's witch laugh alone, so good. I mean, just made me happy every time I heard it.
Good. I also love the absolutely classic anime trope of an elderly woman who dresses like 20 something raver, who also
Yeah.
like, I mean, the manga is fantastic because from here down, she is like the most beautiful woman. And then like the manga face is truly like a witch's wrinkled hag face. And I felt bad that they cast Katie Seagal in this role. Like, this is you, because she is a beautiful woman.
Yeah, borrowing a little from Derek, my friend Derek again here, but he has told me that Oda basically draws two types of women's bodies. So you're
I
either a
know.
beautiful, pert lady or you're very, very large, and that's kind of it. And while we're on the women, actually, I forgot to look up the character and the actor's name. Oh boy, this will be fun.
Elvira,
Yes,
the
yes,
cowboy woman.
yes. The other cowboy woman
Yes.
who is like a bit of a grotesque in the first season as she is in the source material, and then comes back with new powers and is still a big woman. Like apparently in the comic she is like a svelte, she gets the other body type in the comic, but here they kept her a larger woman but made her like better. The tailoring was better and she looked fierce and fabulous,
She did.
and I hope she keeps coming back.
Yeah, me too. Good recurring villain. Lots of great recurring villains
Great recurring
coming out of it.
villains.
And are there any other women you want to talk about? Because I have a lot to say about the boys.
Let's get into the next hour of our lives, the boys. Yeah.
Okay, we've already talked a bunch about Inyaki as Monkey D. Luffy, but he's just so enjoyable to watch. He's ridiculously upbeat, and
Yeah.
he does a great job in what could easily be a one note, no pun intended, character.
Uh-huh. Yeah. He could be unbearable and grating, and instead he is so cute and so infectious. And I think second season especially, it's true that you understand why people are drawn to him. Like his relentless optimism and his belief in the people around he surrounds himself with. Like, oh, that's a good leader. Like, the first thing also he was 3, 4 years younger in the first season and looked much more like a kid. So the idea
Yeah.
of him bossing around these pirates was a little harder to take. But now he looks like a young man and there's something in his spirit that makes you absolutely believe that everyone is loyal to him to a fault.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I did love like because I watched 2 seasons in 2 weeks. I really could see the change, but
Mhm.
he's no longer to sustain the Yahoo as long as he could, and his regular speaking voice has dropped a little bit. Like he was always an adult, but now he's an actual adult.
Yeah. uh, we have a lot of great boys to talk about. And
Not
I
can
don't know if I
you.
want to go straight to my favorite. So yeah, let's talk about Makenya.
Roronoa Zoro is a total punk.
Yes.
Slash me, daddy, with them swords.
He got so much buffer for the second season, which was, again, this is an
That
Oda
chest.
instruction. Yeah,
Oh my
Oda
God.
said to him, "You need a thicker neck." Like that was the only note he had was your neck is not thick enough. So Makenyu hit the gym and bulked up, and now, oof, I mean, it's enough to make your hair turn green. It's
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I get
it's a
it.
lot.
This is a difficult role too, because
Yes,
again, this could be one note, and he's playing like he has to be the downbeat to Monkey's
yeah,
upbeat all the time, and he does it really well. And like we get a lot of good story about Zoro this season. I mean, I think we get the most in the what is it like halfway through the first season where we learn about
yeah,
his sister or like samurai companion, but we do get some good character growth in the first couple of episodes, and we do get some great character growth in the last couple episodes of this season, and it was appreciated.
yes, yeah. I really enjoyed that, and it's a great himbo character We get to
Oh
see a
yeah.
bit more of the ways in which he is just a dumbass, which is great. And having to play those shades against each other of like one of the greatest sword fighters, although Mihawk would disagree, and also one of the just absolute lunkhead cutie himbos wandering around in this world, literally lost at every
Yeah.
turn. And the great line about the uvula in the whale, that was a
So
killer
good.
line.
Or him like taking a piss in the back alley and looking around and be like, huh, I think this is a trap as two people like walk up on him.
Genius.
So genius. Who's next?
I can't put it off anymore. I have to talk about Taz Skylar as
Oh my
Sanji.
God.
I'm obsessed with this man. He is so gorgeous. So lean is usually not my thing, but he makes it so beautiful. He's so athletic. The actor has such good vibes, such good energy. Like he's
Mhm.
a lad, but he's a respectful lad. He's so eager, which we love an eager boy.
Oh yeah.
This is a guy who learned to cook to like a near Michelin grade to be able to convincingly play a cook, learned to kick because that is the other thing that defines Sanji. Like he was not someone who had a background in like Savat or the various leg based martial arts. Learned to
And
hold
fair
his
enough.
breath underwater.
Wow.
You know, he's just a really cool guy who spends his free time trying to perfect all the things that will enrich his character and going on wild adventures and nearly dying all the time. It's so anxiety inducing watching his videos on YouTube because he has a really good channel where he cooks sometimes, he talks about his casting in the show, he talks about the experience of filming the show, but also sometimes he drives a buggy across the desert and flips it and nearly dies. And then the next week he's doing some other insane thing, or he's making ceviche. Great
Wow. Get
content.
you a man who can do both.
Honestly, I feel like he would be so intense to date, but I would be more than happy to wait home for him and worry endlessly.
I did write that he seems hot in a dangerous might hurt me kind of way. And I think that speaks to what you just said. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he's not going to hurt you. He's
not
going to
gonna
break your
hurt you.
heart when he doesn't come home.
That's exactly it. Yeah, he's like British Spanish.
Mhm.
He has like such interesting features.
Mm.
Like he's very unique looking. He's got such a large, pointy jaw, and it makes him hotter. And he's also an artist. Like did he win some kind of like uh Olivier Award for
Yeah, he
a
won a
piece
theatre
that he
award.
wrote, a theater award
Yeah,
for some like stage show. I mean, he can really do it all, and it comes
yeah,
out in this performance.
yeah, yeah. I hope he has a long career and gets a lot more recognition because he can also play just dumb action roles. He was in The Cleaner against Daisy Ridley, which of course I had to watch, and he's still great in it, but it's like beneath him in a way. Even though he could be like the next Jean-Claude Van Damme after all the training that he's gone through. Um, I cannot say enough good things about Taz Skylar. I think for me, he is the biggest draw in the show.
My favorite Senji moment is in the last episode when he does this like head spin like kick pinwheel
Uh-huh.
thing and he kicks the bad guy and he leaps up and he's just got a smile on his face like I did that. Melt my heart. Yeah. There are also some incidental hotties and hunks. Callum
Yes.
Air as Smoker.
He does have one of those faces that's so classically ruggedly handsome that it's like, oh, he kind of looks like a bunch of other guys, but also I would more than happily forget all about all those other guys and focus purely on him.
And that
Callum
chest.
Curry is a beautiful, beautiful man. Yes, gets to wear the open jacket all the time. I'm glad we will get to see more of Smoker in season 3.
Mm, me too. Also, I looked up Jeff Ward, who plays Buggy the Clown out of drag. Hidden underneath that hideous makeup is a beautiful man.
He is gorgeous. It's crazy. His eyes are so beautiful. And you do get it. Like if you watch Buggy, I mean, there is something sexual about Buggy already, I think. Like there is something very seductive about this ugly clown. Like there is
Like,
something to
tell
his
me more.
physicality that comes through the makeup, that is in the swagger and the just like there's a reason you looked up Jeff Ward, is what I'll say.
Okay, you're right, and I will talk to a therapist about all of this. Yeah, no, you can tell. Like, you can absolutely tell there's some kind of cockiness,
Yeah,
like suaveness about him, and then you see him under the makeup, and you're like, I get it. I get it.
yeah. He's got to
And
life
he's
with that
also
face.
hilarious.
So
I just found him
in
really, really funny in this show.
yeah, in order to play that role, yeah, he's another fan favorite. I think he really has established himself as like people desperate for Buggy to come back. Having him be in the first episode of the new season, was it first or second?
Yeah, first.
Kind of infuriating because it's like, oh my goodness, we need more Buggy. We need him to be a recurring motif in every season.
There are so many villains that are going to pop up that eventually we're going to hop off the buggy train, right? It has to happen. But I
The
will be
Buggy
happy when
Buggy,
I see him. The buggy.
yes.
Who else do
I
you want
like.
to talk?
Well, we don't get to see much of Stephen John Waters' Dracul Mihawk in season two. We
Mm,
do get to see a little of him, and again, just a beautiful man cast perfectly in a role that requires him to be swaggy and confident.
yes,
And I want to shout. Well, we'll get to see more of Joe Manganiello next season as well
yes.
as Mr. Zero. But let's shout out David Dastmalchian with one of the hardest roles to sell in this show because Mr. Three is a crazy character, very flamboyant, very over the top, even by the Baroque work standards. I think a little
Mm.
hard to make work on the screen, and David Dastmalchian delivers beautifully.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's just such an incredible actor. He and yeah, this part could have easily been terrible.
Yeah.
They it feels like they went with a powerhouse actor because it's such a difficult role to make interesting, and it ended up being like I think one of the highlights of this season.
Hmm. Yeah, you get that he is intimidating and scary, and that the Straw Hats really like some of the Baroque works characters. They don't feel like they're that threatened by Miss Also. I mean, they're not as threatened as they should be by them, I guess is what I would say. But at no point, I think, does anyone look at Mr. Three and say, "Yeah, I could take him down."
No, he is a legitimate threat, and that's all thanks to David.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the music. All I have here is great theme tune, short and sweet.
And as will this section be. There's not a lot to say. I do think like the score is great. Like there's fun
Yeah.
brassy jazz moments, there's sea shanty inspired music, surging optimism. Like it's not something I'm going to seek out to listen to again, but it works beautifully in the show. I think it's really well done, really well orchestrated, keeps the energy up all the way. Like kudos to it. But it doesn't, it's not going to be something that I revisit. The one part that I will revisit is the Binks's Brew song, Iñaki Godoy singing to a whale, which is a classic moment from the anime as well. It's the same melody, and it's so good. It's so fun and
So
charming,
touching
and
too.
yeah, yeah. And he does the great dance moves. Yeah, like that may be my favorite Iñaki Godoy moment.
Yeah, same here. Um, that was, yeah, particularly special moment in the show, I
Yeah,
thought. Great song. I am sure if I were a fan of the anime, I would be listening to this soundtrack all different, right? Like
right.
there's got to be nods to themes and motifs and scores that have been playing for 30 years that
Yeah,
I am just not going to understand. But based on the incredible attention to detail that I am seeing and learning about in every other aspect, I know that's
mhm,
where the music is at too. And that I appreciate. And, check back in 1100 episodes later and I'll tell you what I really think, I guess.
right. Yeah, I kind of, even though I'm not going to seek out the soundtrack or the score, I kind of want to see like a behind the scenes about the development of it. Because I'm sure you're right. Like there's a lot of character motif in there. They draw a lot of different influences in because of the cosmopolitan nature of the show. So there's probably a really edifying behind the scenes featurette to be made or that it already exists.
We already exist. They already have a podcast about season two. which
Yeah.
Netflix really was pushing on me. And God, I couldn't get out of that last scene fast enough to avoid having to rewatch that. I make a podcast. I don't need to watch one.
Right?
Listens almost exclusively to podcasts. Okay, I have to talk about the fashion, which is stellar. Absolutely above and beyond. It's so like it's anime fashion without feeling like cosplay, which is such a
Yes.
hard line to tread.
Yeah, it's so wonderfully, I want to say anachronistic, but there is no time or place really for this show. But it's very casual, very modern. A lot of the clothing looks like real things that people would wear today,
Mhm.
but like at the higher end of what people would wear today. Like it's street fashion, but it's a little on the chic side. Like there are brands clearly visible throughout, but they're not brands in our world, they're brands in their world. And it's so authentic to that idea. Like it came with a pitch and it hit it. And everything is from Oda's work. Like the characters themselves in the comics, in the manga, I think wear pretty much the same outfits all the time, as tends to be the case in anything that is produced 1,000 pages a month.
Yeah.
It's just easier that way. But but Oda does a lot of like interstitial, like color interstitials and covers and promotional art, and those allow him to dress the characters up differently. And those outfits are the ones that the wardrobe team are drawing upon to dress the characters differently every episode. And it works beautifully. It's so good. It's so sharp. And yeah, like it makes me want to buy those pieces. Not all of them.
Yes. I
None of
loved
them would look good
the
on me.
Monkey's baseball jersey shirt
Yes.
is
So
so
cute.
cute. And I might have to get it. It's like so good. I mean that is like that's real anime nerd territory. And I'm willing to go there.
Do you know which piece I want to get from this season?
The
The
umbrella.
pink, no, whoa, now that's a great umbrella. The pink Doskoi Panda apron that Sanji wears in the galley.
Oh my God.
There's
So
already about
good.
30 Etsy shops selling versions of it, so I might just have to get that. And do I often wear an apron? No, even when I am cooking, I forget to put one on.
I
But I
always
might just wear
forget.
that one to
And
the park. I don't know.
so many things to love. Love Miss All Sundays white duster and cowboy hat. That's an incredible look that she wears throughout the entire season. Love all of the winter fashions from the last two episodes of season
Yes.
two. Very like comfy and warm looking, but also very fashion. Lots of fur hoods, lots of puffer jackets, which we've seen so much of in this long, endless winter, but made me want to wear winter clothes.
Sanji gets to wear this tailored navy winter coat with the fur trim, and it's so chic. It's so stylish. My God. I mean, that man has the body for clothes and for no clothes. But like, I've never seen a winter coat look so cinched.
God, Miss Valentine's yellow wagon wheel patterned jacket and matching mini dress and matching umbrella.
Yeah, it's great.
I mean, it's straight out of the comic. It's very twiggy. And my God, that actress who name is escaping me. So good. She's so beautiful. That is such a serve. Such a
Yeah.
serve.
Yeah, we didn't mention her in among the women, but looking back on it, she's one of my standouts of the
Yeah.
second season for sure. Like she was just great fun. I like that she got to be the sort of a lot of the characters in Baroque works are disposable, shall we say? Like they're one and done. But she got to be like manipulative and keep trying to survive throughout for a good long run.
She had about a good
I
5 episode arc. That's great.
yeah yeah. Um, Let me just see. Jazara Jaslin played Miss Valentine. Anyone else I need to look up? Alvida was played by Ilya Israelis Polino. So credit
And
where it's due.
who is the smoker's marine assistant?
Yes. Toshigi played by Julia Rewald.
Right. Absolutely love all of them.
Yeah.
One more fashion highlight for me. Luffy in Nami's yellow and orange hoodie was
He made it
priceless.
work.
He made it
Yeah.
work. They both made it work, but the fact that he took her hoodie and wore it really made that
And then she got to wear Korea's clothes. Made that work.
also great. And also, Korea's outfit was
Yeah.
incredible. She, like I said, she looked like she was going to a rave.
Sanji making a noughties layered tee, the long sleeves under the short sleeves. That hasn't been hot in 15 years, and yet he made it
Yeah.
hot. A soft baby blue shirt that he's wearing, I think, in the first couple of episodes,
Mm.
looked so snuggleable. I just,
Yeah, he's really good. I I
yeah,
I feel kind of bad that we haven't talked about Jacob Romero Gibson, who plays Usopp, who
yes,
does a great job. He truly is like a hilarious actor,
yeah,
character, and he has a really emotional journey this season where he finally finds himself and he's not kind of latching on to someone else's dream. He's finally beginning to understand what his own dream is.
yeah.
But like the last episode of season one, they do this like we're doing this for this and we're doing this for this. And he's like, yeah. And then this season, he actually begins to understand what his role is in the group.
Yes.
And he's looking for that adventure and he's testing himself. Really great. I just wanted to give Jacob Gibson a shout out for his great work this season.
And since we're in the section, the sunglasses,
The
you know,
sunglasses,
they're crazy.
they're so good. And a slingshot. I mean, very, I don't know, very childish, very punk.
It's, ranged weapons, they can keep you out of the fight for a long time.
I know as someone who has played a character with a ranged weapon.
That's true.
Okay, we have to talk about the queerness. Do you want to
Which
go
is,
first or should I?
here's what I'll say to set you up. Pirates are inherently queer. That is, it's not just our flag means death. It's not just the closing moments of black sails, what a cop out. Like, I have a book called Rum, Sodomy, and the Lash, which is about, the homosocial space of the pirate ship. And it's not ambiguous. Like, the surviving texts tell us that pirates, the men were rogering
We're
the cabin
marrying each
boy all
other.
the time.
Yeah,
Yeah, they married each other on ship. The women, like the famous women pirates, were, I think, very bisexual, pansexual figures who would, dress as men a lot of the time. Like, there's a lot of queerness on a pirate ship.
so all of that said, yes, I agree. It hasn't been present or explicit yet. Did
Yeah.
my research, and I'm really happy to see that One Piece is frequently cited as one of the most progressive Shonen Jump mangas and
Uh-huh.
animes. There are canonical queer and trans characters
Yeah.
who are going to come and who play major roles. And we just haven't reached those characters or those arcs in the already written story. And so that makes me feel better about what I perceived as a lack of queer stories happening. As you say, a space that is so queer.
Morgan Davies, who plays Kobe, is a trans actor who had a very big part in the first season. Don't like that
Love
character
Kobe.
very much. Wasn't sorry to. Sorry. Sorry.
I love Kobe.
I think both Kobe and the character that Kobe's always hanging around with just annoy me.
Oh
Yeah.
no,
They're not my
those are two of my
faves.
favorites.
Yeah. Well, they're good. There's room for everybody. Let's just say them.
I know Kobe's kind of gay for Lucy, and I love that.
Well, yes, that is true. Baroque Works is such a gay organization. I mean, they're
Yes,
called Baroque Works, first of all. Uh, yeah, like the fake nun, so lesbian coded. Love her, but also her opposite number, the kingly twink. Well, I guess not her opposite number, the Vivi's opposite number, the twink in a
yes,
crown. Like,
yes,
that's a great queer coded character who got to have a nice little arc and be a snotty little bitch in the best of ways. So it's in there. It's in
yes.
there, but it's not explicit.
And this might be one of those times where I'm willing to let go of the explicitness, because because I know what's going to happen, because I understand the space where this story is set, and
Mhm.
genuinely like how many queer people have been involved in the making of this story so far. It makes me pretty happy uh and excited.
And two words for season three: Cole Escola.
Wait, for real?
They are coming in season three, and it's going to be great.
Do we know who?
Bon Clay is the character, who is a transgender character, essentially, in a
Yes.
very, in a very uh, fruity way. Fruity in the sense of the show, not in the sense of you and
Mhm.
me.
Right. Oh my gosh, that is so exciting. I had no idea. And that is like one of the three characters that I like did a deep dive on today, who I'm really excited to see. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
it's gonna
Season
be.
three,
I
baby.
think season three is gonna be great.
We'll be back.
I'm excited.
God, the fact that it's like $18 million an episode. So I read that the showrunners, the creators of the live action adaptation are like, yeah, we have plans where we could do this for at least 6 seasons and maybe up to 17. I was like, okay, well, we're not gonna get 17 in
Honestly,
today's economy. Like, no one, we can't even get 2 seasons of Starfleet Academy. RIP, RIP. We made that video before they canceled the show and we called it. There
yeah,
is
we
no
did.
way, there is no way that One Piece is going to last for 10 seasons. But if we get 6 or 7 amazing like seasons that like we have already received,
Yeah.
I'm so happy with that.
Like, I don't want to see Taz Skylar still trying to pull these moves when he's my age,
Yes.
which 17 seasons would get him perilously close to. Uh, Iñaki Godoy is only 22, but how many more years does he have playing this specific character? I would
Right.
say not more than 8, and probably, I don't know. I just worry about these people's backs, in the long term.
Also,
It's a lot of work.
when something goes on this long, I feel like the fatigue that sets in from playing the same character for years and
Yeah.
years and years sets in, and it just becomes less fun. Stranger Things. So I just wouldn't want to see that happen to such a joyful experience.
Yeah. And also, I think the manga is supposed to end within the next year.
Okay.
Possibly it will, like, they will continue doing some other version of, like, I suspect Oda's not done with this world even when he says he's done with this world, but we will get to the resolution of Luffy's story in the next few months, maybe. And once the writers of this show have that information, they can strategize how the shape of the show will be. And we're clearly in very good hands.
Great.
I just hope they don't become too ambitious in terms of, exactly as you say, like if everyone gets tired because they end up doing too many seasons, that's no fun. But if they know what
Yeah.
they're doing and they can get us to like a perfect single digit number of seasons, great.
Anything else you want to add?
I really like Sanji.
Yeah, just circling
Did
back
I
on Sanji, and then circling around
just,
front, and then circling around back,
yeah,
and circling around
his
front. Sorry,
eyes.
what was I saying?
I want to drown in his eyes.
Okay, Andrew, let's
Yes, yes.
score this piece of work, not just Sanji, but the whole gang.
The whole gang.
Always, we always rank the piece of work with a base score from 0 to 5, and then we have our gay score, which includes the categories of women, boys, music, fashion, and queerness. And then we are allowed to add or subtract, or we're allowed to subtract a penalty point, giving us a final kiss, kiss, bang, bang score of 10. What is your base score?
There's that part of me that's like, well, gotta leave room to grow. Gotta no, but I really like season two. I am gonna give it a 5. I really like it.
I mean, I feel like I've watched nothing but One Piece in my spare time in the last 2 weeks. So it's
Thank
really
you.
hard for me to separate like how I feel about it. I think I'm also gonna give it a 5. There were times when it felt like a chore, but only because they were like hour-long episodes and I'd worked
Yeah,
an
they're
8-hour day and I've been traveling for 2 hours. Like trying to fit an hour or 2 of One Piece into my day was sometimes difficult, but I never begrudged it when I got to the end. So I'm gonna give it
yeah,
a.
good.
And then
And hey,
how
I've been
about
telling you to watch this show for 4 years, by the way. So
look, you and my mother and my brother are always like, I've been telling you to watch this. I've been telling you to watch this. I'll watch it on my own
why is
goddamn
that?
time
Why
or for
is
the
that?
podcast.
Why have
Because
we been saying that?
apparently you know me better than I know myself.
A little.
W-
Carry on.
Let's score the women. There's got to be a better way of
Say it
saying
like that.
it. I am absolutely giving the women a point because they
I
are
am
all
also.
really incredible. And then the boys, we are over an hour into talking about this, and we mostly talked about the boys. Uh,
Like, if Taz wasn't in this show, this would still be one of the hottest casts. But Taz is in this show, so it has to get the point.
it should almost get a bonus point for having Taz Skylar in it.
Any show with Taz in it is going to get the point. That's
Done.
maths.
Okay, music.
It's just not there. Do love Binks' like I like the music a lot. I think it's really good, but it doesn't stand out for me. So I've got to withhold the point on this one.
Also, okay, I again been watching only this for 2 weeks straight. Already, the theme song has left my head.
Yeah, it's not the stickiest,
It's not the stickiest. I'm not going to give it the
but Binks' Brew, great song.
great song. And good news ahead because I cannot see this getting worse for this show. Next up is fashion. And my God, yes. Oh my God, does
Yeah,
it have to get the fashion point?
the design work is phenomenal. The set design as well is gorgeous. The fact that they are out there in South Africa under the blazing sun, building these things in water tanks and like whole towns for people to explore. It's crazy. It's so
Wax
dedicated.
mussels
And yet,
and
the
everyone's
aesthetics
wearing
of the
something
show,
beautiful.
yeah, it has a really clear point of view. And that's what we look for.
Yep,
Points.
points. And then queerness.
With all the love in my heart, I'm not ready to give One Piece a queerness point. Let's see how it does in season 3.
Same. I want to be very generous, but I've backed myself into a corner in the past. Yeah, it sounds like this is going to be one of the most queer pirate stories that we will have.
Let's hope.
So far, it's not there. I'm not going to give it the point this time around.
It's not
We
our flag
are,
means death.
it is not our flag means death. We are completely aligned in our scoring today, Andrew.
No.
God, did it just get cold in here? Yeah. That is a
Doctor?
3 out of 5 gay score, which is pretty good. That's a
Yep.
solid score. And then a 5 out of 10 base score. I mean, that's an 8 out of 10. That's really good. Go watch this show. What are you
I
doing?
mean, unless I apply a penalty for the representation of reindeers? Nope, don't have it in me.
Well, honestly, not my favorite part. And apparently, he's like the mascot of the show.
Yeah, we're not done with Tony Chopper by any stretch of the imagination. It's fine. The crew's going to get so big. It's
We'll forget
fine.
about Tony Chopper. Well,
Yeah,
if
8 out of 10.
you enjoyed this wild ride, please check out our other videos. Check out the one on Dearly Departed Starfleet Academy, which we still will have a season 2 to talk about.
And we will
Thank
cover
God.
it.
And we will be covering it. Also, while you're down there, hit that like and that subscribe button. Don't forget to tell a friend because word of mouth goes a long way. And as always, thank you for watching. Until next time, kiss, kiss.
Bang, bang.
If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button and subscribe to this channel. You can follow Kiss Kiss Bang Bang on Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Letterboxd at KKBBpod, or email us at kisskissbangbangpod@gmail.com.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is recorded in Toronto on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabeg, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples.